sisters, comrades, I am so proud and privileged to be on this platform today, speaking to my kind of people, ordinary working class people. And Dave mentioned Margaret Thatcher, and yes, Margaret Thatcher destroyed the mines, but she never destroyed the miners and their families, and she certainly didn't destroy the spirit. Look at this turnout today. It's unbelievable. They're already talking the numbers down. They're saying there's less than 150,000 here. Less than 150,000. Have I got one thing to say to that? That's my arse. But listen, you've got some wonderful speakers on the platform who know the ins and outs of politics. I'm here today to ask you a simple favour. As one working class lad to the working class community of this county, I want you to sign this petition for me, which is going round. There's people in the crowd now, and I just want to give you 5 minutes, that's all, of what it's all about. In 1973, we were sentenced to jail terms for going on strike in the one and only building strike there's ever been. But through it, we learned that our telephones were tapped as far back as that. A couple of months ago, I was informed by Scotland Yard itself that my phone had been hacked by the Murdoch press. Now I don't know what they're frightened of. I'm a City and Guilds plasterer and a bit of an actor on the stage. What the hell are they bloody frightened of? But let me tell you this. It's 40 years since we were sent to jail. 40 years. And we didn't go to jail on a unanimous verdict. We went on a majority verdict because the jury was told by the court usher that if we got found guilty, we were only going to get fined 50 quid and the unions were going to pay the £50. Well, let me tell you something. We were abandoned by the unions in 1973, but I'm glad to say now we've got some real working class leaders of the trade union movement, and I don't think that could happen again. I think if the lads get in struggle, I think they'll have all support in the way that they need from this leadership. But let me tell you, after 30 years, the papers are supposed to be released under the Freedom of Information Act. And when we applied, they wouldn't release them. And when we said why, they said because it would be a threat to national security. A threat to national security for going on strike. It's now 40 years, and so we approached the government again and said, let's have the papers now. It's 40 years, and we got a letter back from Michael Gove saying that Kenneth Clark in December had signed an edict to say that the papers appertaining to the trial, the case and the convictions will not even be looked at again until the year 2021. What are they hiding? What have we done? Let me tell you something. On the day we went picketing, we were accompanied by 80 policemen. 80 policemen were with us all the time. Where the alleged offences took place, no one was charged, no one was arrested, and not a single name and address was taken. But 5 months later, they came up with this thing about you've done this, you've done that and the other. Well, there's a lady on the platform there, I call her the ferret, because she will get where bloody Epsom salts won't. And she's been to the archives, and she's discovered papers which should make us ashamed to be British, because they're appertaining to the case, but they're stamped top secret, confidential, not to be seen by the members of the public, all because we went on strike. So when they wouldn't release the papers, Eileen said, well, what we'll do, we'll get a new petition. All we want is 100,000 signatures, and that's got to get raised in Parliament and discussed. So we went to see Len McCluskey, we went to see Bob Crow, we went to see Mark Soetta, and within a few days, the figures had shot up, or so we thought. They stopped. So when Eileen approached Downing Street and said, what's wrong with the petition? They said, well, to be honest with you, over 58,000 people have signed, but 42,000 of them have made a little mistake, so they don't count. 42,000, out of 58. So we went on. So what we decided to do now is we're going to get 100,000 paper signatures that can't be fiddled. But let me tell you about the e-petition. We got an IT specialist to monitor it because they weren't going up even after I then got in touch with them. And he phoned it up one night. He said, listen, you're not going to believe this. I'm an IT specialist. I've been doing it for years. I've been monitoring the e-petition. The figures are going down. I said, it's a pity it's not inflated. So as I say, listen, we've got a battle on here. We've got a struggle. It's like Hillsborough. They had 2 enquiries where they said we've looked at everything. There's not a stone been left unturned. They've looked at nothing. They've got some of it out now, and there's still loads and loads and loads of documents to be put in front of the general public because there's a cover-up after cover-up after cover-up. And what I'm saying here today is that we know that McAlpine was responsible for what went on in 1973. And he was also responsible, the McAlpines, for the instigation of the blacklist. And Eileen found a document going right back of the blacklist with a list of names on that long, and mine was on it, but mine was the only one with my national insurance number on it. So there's no way that they're going to give us an easy ride. So what I'm saying here today is, thank you very, very much for this invitation. You're our last hope, really. There are so many people here today. We only want 25 or 30% of you to sign this petition. These lads on the platform have agreed to march on Downing Street with us and stuff it up Cameron's nose. So do us a favour,